So it's a teeny little baby mission. It's like an hour and a half this way, an hour and a half this way. It's really teeny tiny. And it's actually kind of funny because when I would go to like a baptism in a former area, we'd drive 15 minutes and be there. And I'm like, wait, I thought I was further away than this. But anyway, it's really small. And there's 6 stakes, also very small. But the wards are humongous. When I first got to my first ward, there was like 450 active members in this little rural town called Fallbrook. And I was amazed. They're going to be splitting the ward soon because it's just too big. But I was amazed by how many members there were. It's just very close-knit membership in the church, which I didn't have being from New York. My ward is 40 miles each way compared to the 40-mile mission that I served in. So, yeah. It's a lot of members in a really teeny tiny area, but there's also a lot of diversity too. It's not like Utah where everyone's a member. It's like 2% of the population, maybe, but still a lot for, you know, California, I'd say. Everyone's seen us at some point because there's so many missionaries in such a tiny area that, I mean, we would accidentally see missionaries all the time. There was one time that 3 of us saw it, like 3 companionships all and like wound up at the same place, and we're like, we're gonna go that way because there were so many missionaries. So everyone has seen the missionaries, especially because now it's an only biking mission, I think, with like just a couple cars. And so everyone knows. Most of the Mexicans there are Catholic, as per usual. And then most everyone else is some sort of Christian. I met just a couple Jewish people. I met a couple Muslim people. But mostly it's just plain old Christian Catholic area. Isn't there always common misconceptions about the Mormons? I mean, it's the usual polygamy, you know, kind of what do you do in the temple sort of thing. And because the San Diego temple is so close, everyone's like, oh, is that like that castle down, you know, down on I-15? Well, or I-5. In fact, they don't even call it I-5. They call it the 5, which I think is really dumb. But it's California. That's what they call the roads. But yeah, everyone knows the temple. And so they are always asking what we do in that pretty princess castle. So we have English and Spanish, and then we have 2 Farsi-speaking missionaries, which is what they speak in Iran, because they have a little Farsi group. It's not a Farsi branch, because if there was a branch, people would get killed, and it's a lot, because there's a lot of people from Iran. So there's 2 Farsi-speaking missionaries that are part of that little Farsi group. So because there's so many people from Iran, we just send our Farsi-speaking investigators over to them. But they're not called to speak Farsi. It's more like they get out there and a few months later, president's like, hey, you're going to speak Farsi for the rest of your mission and stay in this area for, you know, a year and a half. So I had 6 areas. I started in the Fallbrook 5th Ward, which was just like this little, to me it was rural. To most people it's not, but to me, being from New York, it was quite rural. Lots of horses and stuff. Then I went to the La Costa ward, which is in that really rich area, which was like close to the beach but not on the beach. And then I went to the Palomar YSA ward, so I covered the entire stake of the entire Escondido stake, which was very diverse. That's when I talked about going to ultra rich versus ultra poor in the same day. Yeah, it was like that. But Palomar YSA is the best ward in the world. You can quote me on that. I just love YSA. Serving in YSA is the best. If you get 2, you're a lucky duck. And then I went to the Encinitas ward for 1 transfer, which was the beach town. Then I went to the Vista First ward for 1 transfer, which is just like this little area in Vista, California. Nothing really that special about it, honestly. It's a lot of old people. The entire ward. They're afraid that everyone's going to die and they're not going to have a ward anymore because there's so many old people. And then I ended my mission in the Vista YSA ward, covering only Fallbrook. So back to that, you know, horsey town. Again, covering a giant area of YSA. So, YSA. I love YSA. It's so fun. It takes a special kind of missionary to serve in YSA, though, because you have to be fun but professional at the same time. So that balance is sometimes hard to find when you're hanging out with a bunch of people your age. But it is, like, the best. I only had American companions, but there were a few, not too many international missionaries. There were some from Mexico for the most part, but they were all Spanish speaking, so I never really was around them that much. But all my companions, I had 13 of them. It's a lot. That's a lot. But they were all from America.